Go ahead and find that comfortable seat. Allow your eyes to close. Allow yourself to come into the room, onto your mat, and into your body. Maybe take a couple deep breaths and sighing them out, allowing yourself to just settle in and drop in a little bit more into the present moment. Making any little adjustments to allow you to sit up a little bit taller. And then just start to bring your awareness into the room, onto your mat, and into your body. Acknowledging your surroundings. Inviting any distractions to be part of the practice today. Then start to scan over the body, checking in mentally, physically. And inviting that mind to become part of the practice. Try not to let it drift away. Let it try to be here on your mat with your body, with the sensations that we're going to create as we move our body into different shapes. And if you have a specific intention that you'd like to focus on for this practice, allow that to take form. If you don't really have an intention today, maybe it's just to be present, to notice the sensations, or maybe just to breathe. Allow that intention to take form in the mind's eye. As you bring your hands, either press them together in front of your heart, palms together, or take those palms and press them over your heart. We'll set that intention with an om or a sigh of the breath, your choice. Exhale fully. Inhaling. Release the hands down to the thighs and just take a few moments in silence here, letting all of that settle in. Allow yourself to become more centered here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Allow those eyes to blink open. Moving slowly and mindfully, we're going to transition onto our back. We're going to do supported bridge. So if you're using pillows or bolster, it's better to start higher, and it's easier to take things away than to add things in. So we're going to lay onto our back. That support's going to go right underneath your hips, under your sacrum. Let's go ahead and start to lay back. Knees will be bent to begin with, so you can rest your hips on a block, a bolster, pillows, blankets, whatever you'd like. Something softer is a little nicer sometimes. So I'm going to use my blankets and my pillows. And you might notice the more you practice, the more you're able to know exactly what your body needs and the props that your body likes. So I'm going to lay down onto your back there, having that support under the hips. And take the first minute to just settle in. So we're going to target the low back here, maybe even into the hips a little bit with this first pose. Hands can be by your side, on your belly, like cactus, whatever's going to feel best in your body. And start to settle in. Starting to notice any areas of resistance, any areas of tension, and taking your directed awareness to that area. Once you've found a space to be in, find some stillness. We'll be in most of these poses for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. This one will be 5 minutes. And then so one way to increase a little bit more of your edge here is to take those arms overhead, and you can either relax them or you can maybe join interlinking opposite elbows and hands. So that's just going to create a little bit more length in the front body. If you still feel like you have a little bit more edge to creep up on, maybe those legs start to go straight. As you straighten the legs, try to relax them as much as possible. That includes all the way up into your hips, your glutes, your booty. Try to relax that, let your toes drop out to the side. And this might be where you start to find that you are a little bit high and you might need to pull something out or draw those knees up toward the ceiling again. And just start to close the eyes, tune inward into the sensations that are occurring in the body. If you feel any pinching sensation in the shoulders with your arms overhead, return them back to cactus arms or widen the elbows. See if you can have that directed awareness of your breath entering through the nose, down the spine, into that targeted area, and then back up the spine and out the nose. If at any time a pose feels either uncomfortable, painful, or if you feel complete in this pose and you're ready to come out of it, you're always welcome to come out and adjust as your body deems fit. About 2 more minutes here. Dropping in. And taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to bend the knees if they're extended. Start to bring the hands down by the side if they're overhead. And then either lifting your hips up to remove the props, or if it's comfortable enough for you to drop yourself over to one side to take yourself off the props, just coming off of those props and pausing there on your back for a moment or on your side. Just acknowledging the shifts, those sensations in the low back and the hips. And then when you're ready, roll over to one side, press yourself up mindfully to seated. We're going to start seated here. Have some props. You might want to prop yourself up on something to begin. We're going to go from a figure 4 into shoelace pose, into swan, or AKA pigeon. So we have a little bit of a flow here. So I'm going to just sit up on something to begin, because I know I like to sit up on something when I come into shoelace pose. And today we're going to start off with the half version and then maybe work our way into the full version. So taking those legs out straight, taking your right leg over your left, and then lean back into those hands and start to bend the left knee. So as you bend that left knee, you're going to kind of find some straightness in those arms, if it's okay for the shoulders. So you're going to create some tension in the shoulders, the wrists, and the elbows. Normally we say to bend them, but you're going to straighten them so you can kind of stack your bones. And then just kind of adjust that left foot in or out to create deeper sensation in that right hip. Try to relax your right leg. That's going to be the hard part because we're used to engaging it. And then start to settle into stillness. So we'll be in this pose only for about 3 minutes because of some of the intense sensations that happen in the arms. And if it becomes too much for the arms in this position, you can always recline into the figure 4 and then return back up to seated for the rest of the flow. So again, it's just a mild target into that sensation. If you'd like more sensation, you just start to draw those hands closer toward your glutes, toward your body, and lean the chest forward. You can target the neck a little bit, like drawing the chin toward the chest and letting it hang. If any tingling sensation starts to occur in the arms, maybe put a little micro bend into the elbows. It just might mean you're pinching that nerve that runs along all the way from the neck down to the hand. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Start to lift the chest, start to extend that left leg. Extend the right leg. Pause there for a moment. And then taking that right leg, you're going to draw the right leg over the left again, but see if you can stack your knees. This might be where you need to sit up on something. And keeping that right or the left leg straight just for now. So we're just doing half shoelace pose. And then use any props. Maybe you need props under the right knee. Maybe you need it under the right ankle. And then try to relax the legs. So give them a little squeeze and then let them go. And just holding here. Acknowledging what sensations are happening. Get out any little fidgets. Start to drop into stillness. We're going to be in this pose for about 5 minutes. That's one of the reasons, maybe a little bit longer, about 6 minutes. That's one of the reasons I want us to just experience this with that left leg extended rather than tucked under like we might normally do. And from here, we're going to go into a side stretch. So you're going to start to walk your right hand out to the side. Maybe you're pressing into the floor. Left hand can be on your hip, or left hand, the thumb can rotate down and the back of your hand is going to press into your low back. And then relax the shoulder. So it's going to get a little deeper shoulder stretch. Maybe your elbow comes down on a block or a bolster or a blanket. So you're getting into the side stretch of the left side. You're getting into the shoulder. You're still targeting the hips. And then you can even target your neck a little bit more if you'd like. And you can take your chin and start to draw it toward that bottom shoulder. If it feels better to release your head more sideways and drop your ear toward the shoulder with your chin facing forward, you have that as an option as well. Try to relax into the muscles as much as you can. There will be a little bit of energy holding that head. See if you can let the muscles relax and take that sensation more into the end points, near the joints, near the spine, near the shoulder. Few more cycles of breath here. Slowly start to bring yourself back upright, bringing that head with you. And slowly release that left hand. Pausing there for a moment. And then starting to go into a twist to the right. So left hand's going to come to that right thigh. Right hand comes back behind you. And just rotate till you feel your edge and pause. And again, you can continue to work the neck by looking backwards, or maybe you even look forwards. So find a different stretch than what you did on the other side. Or you can even drop your chin to your chest to get the back of the neck. Slowly start to bring yourself back towards center. Pause there for a moment. So kind of check in with that sensation behind your knee. I know for me, sometimes it finds it's a little too intense. It's a little more hyperextension for me. I like to then place just a little rolled up blanket under there just to give me a little bit of support so that I'm not overextending my knee. Sometimes I really drop into that back and I know that bothers me. If you're fine, don't worry about it. Just make sure it's kind of more toward the thigh side of your knee than right under your knee, because there is a vein that runs right there, right on the surface close to, so your foot might fall asleep and you don't want that. And then if you're comfortable, start to fold forward any little bit. You could round forward as much as you need, find some rounding in the back. Maybe your head drops down, maybe your head rests on something, your knee, a block, a bolster. Just round everything forward. Let the legs grow heavy. Really drop in here. Slowly start to make your way back up to seated. Moving into swan, which is similar to pigeon. You're going to take that right leg. That right leg is going to draw up toward your chest. You're going to draw that right leg out to the side or out in front of you, so you can take your left leg and extend it back. So first variation, maybe you're sitting up on your heel, the knees right in front of you. I'm just going to come this way so you can see a little bit better. So first variation, you're just here, knees right in line with the hip. If that doesn't do much for you or that's too painful on your knee, slide that knee out to the side, let your hip drop down, maybe prop it up underneath some props so that you can relax the muscles. Just taking a few moments, you're going to relax your back leg, toes going to point, and your heel might even roll out to the side. So I know I like to have a little cushion underneath my hip. And then start to lengthen forward. Any little bit, maybe your elbows come to pillows, maybe they come to blocks, maybe they come to the floor. And just for a moment, press everything into the floor. So know what it feels like to engage, and then let it go. So just let yourself surrender here. If this becomes too much on the knee or the hip, Maybe prop your hips up a little bit more, taking less of that pressure off, or prop your upper body up a little bit higher. Start to drop in here. Checking in with those sensations that are happening in the hip, in the knee, the ankle. Can you really drop into stillness? You have about 1 more minute here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly make your way back to your hands. And then slowly you're going to tuck your back toe, slide your hips forward, slide that right leg back. Find yourself in a little hands and knees position. Your choice, maybe a little cat-cow. Maybe you lift the hips a little downward dog to get some extension into that right leg. Whatever you're going to need to do to kind of promote that circulation of energy again. Take a couple moments there. Maybe child's pose feels good. And then when you're ready, making your way back to a seated position. Once you're there, go ahead and pause. Notice the effects on that right side. And then we'll go into the left side. So taking that left ankle, placing it over the right knee, bringing those hands back behind you, and then start to draw that right knee in, stacking your elbows and wrists and shoulders, relaxing that left leg. Just kind of noticing the sensations there and adjusting as needed to find your edge. And then start to settle in. Settle into stillness, mentally and physically. Inviting the mind to stay with the sensations. Again, if your edge is a little bit further away, maybe you start to draw your chest toward that top leg. Maybe you start to invite the neck into it and start to round the chin to the chest. Slowly start to lift the chin if it's lowered. A little bend into those elbows. Extend the right leg. Extend the left leg. Go ahead and prop yourself up on any cushions you might need. Half shoelace. And this time that left leg is going to come over the right. Situating yourself, start dropping into and getting yourself situated on that side. And start to settle into that stillness, pausing there. Just notice those sensations that are happening right now. Noticing which ones are ones that you're curious about, finding ones that are going past your edge and adjusting as needed. And starting to come into that side stretch. So this time it's going to be your left hand's going to walk out to the left. And then finding that side stretch, ground down into the sit bones. And then taking, if you want the shoulder stretch, that right arm goes out, thumb points down, right hand behind you. And then relax the shoulder. And then start to drop in there. Maybe your elbow comes to a pillow or a blanket. Maybe you stay with straight arm. Dropping in there. And then again, you can add in the neck if that feels good to you, either looking down toward your bottom shoulder or dropping the left ear to the left shoulder. And then dropping into stillness. As you adjust and move, try to do so slowly with intention, noticing all those sensations along the way. Notice where you might be gripping energetically in the muscles. See if you can let those muscles relax. A few more cycles of breath here. And ever so slowly, start to bring yourself back up to center. And then as slow as you can, start to remove that right hand from behind you. Pausing there upright for a moment. And then adding in a twist, rotating to the left. Your right hand's going to come to that left thigh and just kind of rest heavily there as you bring your left hand down to the floor behind you. And again, different options for your head. You can continue to look back, getting into the right side of the neck. You can look forward as a counter and get into the left side of the neck. Or you can start to drop that chin toward your chest, getting into the back of the neck. And slowly bring yourself back to center. Pause there for a moment. Notice any sensations where you might need to adjust for your forward fold. And then start to lengthen forward any little bit. Rounding through the spine, dropping the head, rounding the shoulders, letting go of any muscle energy that's gripping on. And then settling into stillness. And moving slowly with intention, slowly start to bring yourself back upright. Pause there for a moment. And then starting to transition into that swan pose on the other side. So draw that left knee up. Roll it out to the side, taking your right leg, draw it back behind you. And again, using anything you need underneath your hips, underneath your shin, your back leg, adjusting that front leg, just pausing upright for a moment. Letting those legs kind of relax into place. Notice the sensations in the knees. Make sure their knees are happy. So right now we're targeting a little bit of the low back and the hips. And then eventually as we start to lengthen forward, it's going to become deeper into the knee, the hip, and the ankle joint on the front leg. As you're ready, start to lengthen forward. Maybe elbows come down. Maybe chest lays across a bolster. And start to drop in here. Finding some stillness. not sure if things are engaged or if they're relaxed, just take a moment to engage the legs, press them into the floor, and then relax them. And notice the difference. And again, be mindful of any sensations of pins and needles or sleepiness in that bottom leg. That might mean you need to prop up your hips a little bit more to give that leg a little bit more space so you're not pinching the nerve. Few more cycles of breath here. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Mindfully make your way back up toward your hands if you're not there already. And then tuck your back toes, slide that back knee in. Slide the front knee back. Finding that table position. Pausing there for a moment. And then making any movements that feel good. Maybe a little cat-cow. Maybe a downward dog to stretch out that left side. When you're ready, make your way back to seated. Pause there for a moment. Just notice the effects of that pose. And we're going to start to transition into long-legged butterfly. So instead of our feet being in close, our feet are going to be a little bit out farther and wider. And then if you need to prop your hips up on something so that your hips actually come forward, so you can have gravity help take you forward, prop up those glutes up on that bolster or something so your sit bones are right at the edge. And then find a comfortable position with those legs out long. So it's not too much pressure on the outer knee, but you do feel some sensation there because that is one of the targets, the outer knee. Then we have the hip joint, and then we're going to have the spine. So then any props you need inside of your legs to help you kind of round forward, maybe a blocks or bolsters that you rest your elbows on as you start to fold forward. For those that don't feel much with this and your legs naturally just kind of drop out to the side, you have little deeper hip sockets. You can take your feet and prop them up on a cushion or maybe even a block, and that's going to give you more room for those hips to externally rotate toward the floor. For those that have a little less range of motion, or maybe you have shallower hip sockets, maybe you're just sitting upright and your hands are resting inside your legs. Or maybe you have a long bolster that you're resting your head upon that's sitting between your legs. Just start to settle in here. Finding your edge, noticing when that edge creeps away from you. And then make your way closer to that edge. And then settle into stillness. You're welcome to stay with the sensations in the legs and the low back, or if you'd like to target your entire spine, start to draw that chin a little bit more toward your chest. Few more cycles of breath here. Taking a full inhale here. Let it go. Very slowly take 2 or 3 slow breaths to slowly bring your way back up. And then helping your knees draw those legs out straight. Pausing there. Just noticing the effects of that pose on the body, those targeted areas. See if you can notice any energy start to flow toward those areas, any blood flow. And then start to make any movements that you feel are necessary, or stay with the stillness. Maybe point and flex through the feet, maybe rub the knees. Maybe lean back into the hands and open the chest. So from here, we're going to go into our either legs up the wall or supported shoulder stand with blocks or bolsters under the hips. If you're going to do a supported shoulder stand with the blocks, you can stay in the center of the room, or you can even still have your legs up the wall if that's what's going to feel better. One option you could do that's a little bit different sensation, going to target the back a little bit more, is definitely if you have two blocks or a higher bolster, something that's going to be at least maybe 6 to 8 inches tall, you can slide that with you near the wall. So if I were to slide up next to the wall, so my legs will kind of be up the wall. And then once my legs are up the wall, I'm going to lift my hips and slide these blocks underneath. So they're right in that sacrum area, so that I have a little bit of an arch in my low back. And I'm going to roll my shoulder blades onto my back, so I'm resting on my shoulders. My chin's at my chest, so I have a little bit of neck flexion there. And then my knees can stay bent, or my legs can start to go straight up the wall. And you can stay here. So this is another option, or maybe your legs pull away from the wall and you come into that supported shoulder stand. Once you're in this position, try not to look around. Keep your head in a neutral position. So you have either normal legs up the wall, supported shoulder stand, and start to drop in here. See if you can deepen your breath. And maybe the blocks at a super high height doesn't feel good for your back. Just drop them down. Drop down to something that's better for your back if you're doing the supported shoulder stand. And if the sensation on the neck is too much, you can roll a little bit of a rolled up towel underneath the neck and let the neck be supported by that, so it still gives you that little natural curve in the neck. See if while you're here in this pose, you can just start to deepen your breath. Really bring your awareness to your breath. As your legs are either up in the air or up against the wall, can you let those big muscles just kind of relax? Keep your legs from dropping out to the side with just a little bit of energy. But try to let those bigger muscles relax a little. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. If you're on the blocks and you're near the wall, unwind the shoulders first. Press into the wall, lift the hips, slide those blocks out. And slowly lower the hips down. Maybe the legs stay up the wall for a moment. Maybe the knees hug into the chest. If you're not near the wall, maybe your legs extend out into a little mini shavasana for a moment. Just notice the effects on the body there from that pose. And then if you're already on your back, go ahead and stay there. If you're too close to the wall, go ahead and move yourself away from the wall. Find yourself once again on your back. Coming into our twist. So once you've made it to your back, kind of decide what twist you'd like to do today. You can do the twisted route with your legs crossed. Just thinking about it right now. You can do one leg at a time, dropping to the side, or you can do two legs to the side. Just kind of think about what you're feeling today, what's feeling good. If you want to target more of that outer hip still, eagle legs is good for you. If you want to target more of your spine, one leg or two legs. We're going to shift our hips slightly to the right first. And we're going to drop our knees to the left. I'm going to do just one leg today and have a little support under that right leg. And then start to expand and open up to the right. And then start to relax the body. Dropping into the spine, into that hip joint, into the shoulders. Dropping into stillness with your breath. Moving mindfully to find your edge. Be mindful of that right shoulder and that right hand. If you start to feel any tingling sensation in the hand or the forearm, just means you're pinching that brachial nerve that runs from your neck underneath your collarbone down to the arm. So you might need to draw that hand closer to your ribs to allow that blood flow, that nerve to continue to send sensations down the arm, rather than falling asleep. You have about another minute here. See if you can drop in a little bit more into the sensations. Taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly start to bring yourself back onto your back. Bring those hips back to center. Pause there. Notice the sensations on that right side. Take any movements you need to before the second side, or just enjoy the stillness. And then start to transition to the second side. Shift those hips to the left a little bit first. And then going into the same variation, that you did on one side, onto this side. Taking some time to set yourself up, getting out any little wiggles, and dropping in to your edge, to stillness, with support. And allow the mind to be curious about those sensations happening in the body. Notice if you might be holding any muscle energy in the legs, especially that bottom leg, and see if you can let it go here. We have about another minute here. Tapping into those sensations, into the stillness. And taking a full inhale here. And let it go. Slowly bring yourself back to neutral. Pause there for a moment. Noticing the effects, checking in with that left side. And taking those legs, extend them long, reach through the toes, engage through the legs, reach those arms back overhead. Give yourself a long stretch here from fingertips to toe tips. Maybe doing wrist and ankle circles. And then slowly start to let go of that engagement. Start to let the legs slide out. Start to bring your hands back down by your side. Starting to find that shape, that familiar shape of Shavasana. Using any props that you need to so that you're supported comfortably here. Allowing yourself to drop in. We're coming right up upon that 75-minute mark. And if you'd like to end there, you can go ahead and turn off the video now. Let your time just play out as much as you need on your back. Otherwise, I invite you to stay with us. We'll be here for about 5 minutes or so, restoring. If at any time you feel you're done being on your back and you'd like to end your practice, please do. Take a couple moments just settling in, letting go, maybe even taking some sighs out the mouth, dropping into Shavasana. I'll bring us out to end class together with 3 bells. Take rest. And as always, since you're at home, and if this is feeling good and you want to stay here longer, please do. If you are ready to exit, start to deepen your breath and bring some movements back into the body. The wrists, the ankles, the arms, the legs. Maybe take another stretch, lengthening out from fingertips to toes. Maybe finding windshield wipers with the legs or hugging the knees into the chest, rocking a little bit from side to side. Bring the circulation back, the blood flow. And then just kind of check in, acknowledge what is in store for you for the evening. If you want to keep this low energy, this mellow sensation, roll over to your right side, let your right arm be a pillow. If you might feel like you need a little bit more energy, roll over to your left side and use your left arm as a pillow, pausing there. As you're there, just kind of scan over the body, check in with the mind, acknowledge those shifts from the practice. And then as you're ready, mindfully pressing yourself up, coming all the way back up to seated. Once you've arrived in that seat, allow your eyes to close. Just pause there for a moment. Hands can either rest on your thigh, on your chest, or palms pressing. Allow yourself to be in the room, on your mat, in your body. Notice the sensations that are happening. Notice any little bit of quietness in the mind. And we'll seal this practice in with either one side of the breath or one Om, your choice. Exhale fully. Full inhale here. Bowing your head slightly. Taking a moment, think of one thing in your life that you truly are grateful for. And holding on to that image in your mind's eye as you raise your head with a smile. Thank you for taking time for yourself today. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.